experimental group, you want to make sure that the placebo group is essentially not given anything that would cause a reaction. That's why it's called a placebo. But in the case of the flu vaccines, the earlier studies that upon which the new ones have been fast-tracked, because they claim that because there are old studies, you don't need to do the studies again with the new vaccines, which is part of the ruse. It's part of the fraud. And that the older studies used not saline, the placebo controls were not given saline solution. They were given other vaccinations or toxic heavy metal mercury. And so that eliminated the difference between experimental and controls in terms of adverse reactions. And so that was then what eliminated the statistically significant differences, which allows now, through this fraud, our officials to claim that there was no difference in experimental versus control groups, so it's safe. The whole concept is based on fraud of safety testing.
You know what that calls to mind? I don't know if you caught Gary Null's testimony at the New York State Assembly hearing, and he made a really impassioned plea there. And one of the points he brought up was in testing that, let's say they're testing a group of pregnant women, and any woman to see if there was an effect of the vaccination, okay? They weren't doing it against a control, just to see if there's any effect at all. Well, he said if the woman's temperature were to rise up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, well, she was to be yanked out of the study. And, it's just like, and he's like, hello, where's the science? I mean, this is such junk science. It's embarrassing. But I'm going to point out another thing, though, just about Gary Null. I pointed this out also to Jane in the first half. He does this very impassioned plea, but then he says, well, look, if the vaccine was tested and safe, I would be accepting of this. And just this red flag went off in my head because, I think you take the same stance. There's just no such thing as a safe vaccine. There's just no common sense in injecting disease into the bloodstream or squirting it up the nose or anything. That's just not how you make a healthy person. A healthy person supports their immune system and follows proper, living habits to be strong. But, this is just so completely upside down and backwards. And, Gary Null has, he's got a wide audience. And so I'm thinking, is this some trick we're being led down? Like, I think you even called Barbara Lowe Fisher of the National Vaccine Information Center. Perhaps she's disinfo because she kind of takes the same stance. She's like, we're not against vaccines. We just want them to be safe. And then you've got this movement, green your vaccine. And it's like, sorry, you can't green a vaccine. I'm sorry, that's my stance. I don't know if that's exactly how you feel, but that is absolutely how I feel about it. It just makes no common sense to go, it's like asking for trouble, it's just so completely backwards. And I think you even mentioned Mothering Magazine. You're telling me that Mothering Magazine is now pro-vaccine? Is that true?
Yes, that's absolutely true.
Because see, I've been...
Yeah, and
well, go on.
Yeah, I take the same position that you take, and again, I be playing on fluscam.com television. That's fluscam.tv. Is a 24-hour network that we produced to put out good quality programming and truth. And Gary has those 3 segments. Gary Null produced those, and we've got them playing. And I totally agree with you. I have personal history with Gary Null. I know him personally. We have not gotten along over many years for a number of reasons. It's interesting that at this particular time, you got to look at all sorts of issues. If the saying is true that the enemy of your enemy is your friend, it's kind of like why I would put Gary Null's information up and even hesitantly connect to and link to some of Barbara Lowe Fisher's materials.
I do too.
It's disgusting and it's despicable because it's so insane that you could consider injecting a human being with foreign genetic materials and chemical poisons and expect that that's going to be a blessing for the human immune system. You got to be a complete idiot to really grasp that. And all it shows is that how we have persuaded reasonable and intelligent people to adopt absolute lunacy, hypocrisy, and insanity. That's how effective the media is, and I can tell you as a behavioral science expert in media persuasion technologies, Harvard trained, I can tell you that media is more powerful than parents, teachers, or peer influence in establishing beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors of human beings. And it's been proven over and over again, and this is why television and the media is the psychological operation. It is the underpinning for global political agendas and the advancing of this genocide.
I'll tell you the one that's killing me the most is Mr. Dr. Oz. Oh, boy, do I just see sheer snake when I look at him now, you know. And I've got to believe they set this up a long time ago, knowing that he was going to be the big guy on the front selling the vaccination. He was going to first earn everybody's trust, selling natural healing. Oh, we don't want to do surgery on you. We want you to heal yourself naturally. Get everybody's trust. Oh, he's a good guy. I'm thinking, yeah, wow, look at this guy's on Oprah saying everything I've been saying for 15 years. Everybody calling me crazy. Now this guy's on Oprah. Now all of a sudden I'm no longer crazy. But then what's he coming out? Pro-vaccine. I mean, this is the slickest trick I've ever seen. I am so disgusted. I want to scream. I just want to scream. I'm looking at the women's faces in the audience and just saying, look at this man just handing. Oh, I could go on. Oh, boy.
Susan, I don't know, did you get a chance to view the 3 segments that I did completely, basically condemning Oz?
Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, no.
Oh, then you'll have, it's on YouTube right now.
Oh,
it's
okay.
My latest 3 submissions to YouTube, and it's a complete slam dunk. I think that you'll totally adore what I've done in terms of treating that segment.
I sent the man flowers a couple weeks ago. I sent him a bouquet of flowers with just a little message, hey, check this out. And I included my website, theshotheardroundtheworld.info, which was part of a big faxing project that we faxed out a letter of warning to global politicians all over the world, basically saying, look, we are not going to let you off the hook. There was a Nuremberg trial, and we're kind of anticipating that there's going to be another one. So the whole little argument that we were just following orders, it ain't going to fly. Here's the evidence. You can't claim ignorance. And, this is considered manslaughter, even through your ignorance, even if you claim it wasn't intentional, just through sheer negligence, this will be considered manslaughter. Consider yourself warned. And it's a website that then takes them over to a whole lot of documentation. You're there, of course. And also a fun little open letter that I wrote to David Rockefeller. It's kind of funny. But so I sent him flowers, a bouquet of flowers, and said, hey, go check out this website. Basically, like, hey, we're watching you guys, Go ahead and keep on keeping on. We guarantee you're going to pay in the end of this. You're going to pay. You don't get to do this and claim like you don't understand. There's no way in the world that you don't get this. And there's millions of us just lay people walking around, and we get this just clearly. And, it's up to us, to love our neighbor and share this information with our neighbor. And just, the massive movement and groundswell of resistance against this is so heartening and inspiring. I mean, I would think that you've experienced it too, like never before. I mean, you've been fighting vaccinations for so long. So have I, just in my own very small little way. But to see what has happened now with the swine flu vaccine, I've said it and I'll say it again. If we had all met in a room to figure out how could you take down global politicians, the mass media, and the medical mafia all with one tool, we couldn't have devised a better plan than this. I mean, they're digging their own grave, I mean, I don't know. That's how I see it. I don't know if you...
Yeah, going back to Oz, we showed you that ABC, which is his station, is a part of the consortium with Disney and Miramax, which is the Weinstein brothers, and called the Weinstein Company. Mm-hmm. So they are absolutely controlled financially by Goldman Sachs, which put together the mergers. And the man at Goldman Sachs, who runs Goldman Sachs. His name is Lloyd Blankfein. And Lloyd Blankfein is co-chairman with David Rockefeller and Rupert Murdoch of Partnership for New York City. So that's who Dr. Oz's bosses are.
Amazing, amazing. It just gets so tied in and so, yeah. Well, you know what? We've only got a couple more minutes.